Alright, welcome back to another episode in my Create Modded Minecraft world. So, last episode we built this area behind me, as you can tell. And we've also built a tree farm in the upper floors of all these buildings. So in between episodes, I've been doing a couple things. I've been AFKing. So we've got a couple more logs since last episode. If you can check here. Got quite a lot of jungle logs. We don't have those. We didn't have those, but now we do. We've also taken down our iron farm. Because our zinc farm that we built on episode, I think, 2? Episode 3? I kind of forgot. But anyway, on episode 3, we built up our zinc farm. And that actually also makes iron, as I mentioned. And so, we actually took down our iron farm. And we just moved all the iron from that vault into the vault over there. And so we have 12,000 iron ingots. It's not running right now because we have enough of everything for now. Okay, so another thing that we've been working on since last episode is our interiors. So you can tell here we've been working on our ceilings, our floors, and our walls. We haven't really, built out the details for our interiors, but this is what we've done so far, and I thought this might just be easier for us to explain how we're going to build out all the interesting parts for the interiors. So for example, this one would be, I guess, a clothes shop, because we've got all these windows here that will allow you to see in and see what's there to buy. So for example, we might have mannequins, and we'll do this for every building. We'll just have a quick, description of what this building is going to be, and we'll just sort of go through how we're going to build it out. I'm gonna be honest, I don't like working on interiors, but I think it's just because I'm not that good at it. And unfortunately, the only way to be good at it is to do more of it. So here we are, and we've got some dirt set up over here, and that's basically to tell us where everything's going to go. We have 3 rows of shelves, and then we got some fridges over here, and then we've got our counter. And so what I think might be best is that we'll cut to when we've finished building these shelves, these fridges, and the counter, and then we'll talk about, putting stuff in there, putting stuff in the shelves, and, doing some actual decoration. So, we'll cut to that. Alright, we're back, and we've built up the interiors for this build. We've got our ceiling lights, we've got our shelves, we've got our fridges, and we actually moved the wall in by a block, because I thought that looked nicer. We've also got our counter. And so how we're going to decorate these shelves is using cardboard boxes. So these are from the Create mod, and the issue with trying to decorate here is that you can't actually place blocks here, because this block space is occupied by the panel, which is for the next shelf, which is for the next layer for the shelf. Anyway, what we can do is we can put just packages here. We can just like dot them around. We can move them wherever we like, and we can just put a couple on each shelf, like that. And another thing we can do is we can use heads, and we'll use that for the top layer, where we can just pop a couple, like here, here, and here, so and so. And now the whole place looks a bit more cluttered, looks a bit more used, I guess. And we can use this seat where we bring in a villager, and we can pop them there, and he'll be our cashier. So, for now, we'll move on to our next building. So this one. And for this one, we've got 2 floors. So the bottom floor here would be a sort of shop space, and the top floor here would be, I guess, a storage space. And so what we gotta do is we gotta make a staircase that leads from the bottom floor to the top floor. And we gotta build out, shelves, we gotta build out our counter, of course, and we gotta build out a sort of storage area, I suppose. So, we'll see you then. So, we've built out the interiors for this building. So, for this floor, we've got a shop. We've got a couple of armor stands and just some spare armor pieces that we found throughout our travels. And then we've got a counter over here. We've got these hat stands, which let us display the hats that we've gathered throughout our adventures. And then we've got our shelf with, some packages. And we got a counter for our cashier, which would eventually make its way here. And then in the top floor over here, we've got a storage room where we just have a couple of spare heads that we have. Sort of just placed randomly along with some packages and this campfire for some effects, I suppose. Alright. Our next building that we'll be working on is this one, actually. We're going to skip this one. This one will be a subway entrance, but we're not going to work on that for now. This will be reserved for a later episode. But this one is actually split by a top section and a bottom section. So the top section here, we've got a cafe. And then in this building is actually where we get our bottom section. And this will be a bar. I think this will be like a place where we have a couple of pool tables, and then we got like an entrance here for maybe reception, or that kind of thing. But anyway, we'll work on it, and we'll show you once we've finished this area. We're back, and we've built out our cafe. So over here we have our cafe. We've got some seats, a row of sofas, and then we got a couple chairs over there, and we got some more seats here. So you can kind of look out while you eat, I suppose. And then we got some counter space over here. Here's where our cashier would be, and we have this glass display for food. Once again, we don't have anything in there, but that's how it looks so far. We also built out our pool club. If we go down here, we've actually got 3 pool tables and a villager who's playing pool. Got a board here, which I suppose could be for listing stuff down. We got a bar here, although we don't really have any drinks. And we got a couple of chairs. So, this is all I'll do for now. So moving on to the next building over here. So this one will be a bit of a restaurant. What we're going to do is we're first going to move this camel out, and then we're going to build a outdoor area over here where there will be seats, and we'll cut back once we've done just that. I've done it, and I didn't need to move my camel out. Look at him. He's one of our customers. Look at him. He's just sitting there. I have no idea what he wants, but, he's there. But we've changed up the ceilings a little bit. We've got this design going on. We've got, just a lot of chairs. We've got an outdoor area here with 2 umbrellas. And more chairs, of course. But that'll be it for this area. For now, we'll be moving on towards the wood area. And I reckon I'll just start with this building over here. So I have no idea what this building's going to be, but I think it's just going to be another shop. So we'll cut to when we've finished up the design, and I'll just quickly talk through what I've put, what I've done, and we'll see you then. You know, I've fallen into a bit of a habit. Like, all I do is just make a table, make some shelves, add some, add another table for the counter, and then just pop some random stuff in here without really any sense of cohesion. And that's probably not a good thing, but it's sort of the habit I've fallen into. So, if I ever do want to spend a bit more time with the interiors, I'll probably come back to it. But for now, I think these buildings aren't really buildings that I want to focus my interior in. I'm not really going to be, spending a lot of time in here. I'm not really, this isn't, my base, so to say. So, I think this will be fine for now. So we'll be moving on to our next building over here, and this will be a restaurant. And I think you can guess what I'm going to say. So I'll see you then. I did say that I would cut to when I've finished building the restaurant. I did finish the restaurant, but I thought I might do a cut to here first. A couple things. First, we found our horse from, I remember, I think it was 2 episodes ago, I mentioned that we lost our horse, and I actually found him. He was actually further south from our snowy plains. So here he is. And he's quite fast, he jumps quite high, but he has quite, not a lot of health. Yeah, he doesn't have a lot of health, which, isn't that great, because that just means you gotta keep healing him whenever you jump off something. So, another thing is why we're here. We're here at a biome called the Scarlet Mountains. You can see this here. The interesting feature of the Scarlet Mountains is that it has a lot of redstone ore, which is great because we're going to mine a lot of it. Although one thing is, I actually want to keep some of the redstone ore. That is because I think they might be useful for certain decorations. One other thing is that we'll have to have a substitute to get our redstone. And that is actually a spoiler for our next episode where we will be making a redstone farm. But before that, we'll cut to our restaurant and see how it looks like. So we're back, and I've built out our restaurant. So this is it. We've got some walls, we got a painting, some decorations. We got a water cooler sort of thing going on here. Got a cup, and we've got our tables. Quite generic. And this llama here, I have no idea how he got here. But oh, there's Wandering Trader. Oh, anyway, llama here, and I guess he's our cashier. So we'll move on to this build. This one's going to be a cafe, and same thing as last time. I'm going to cut until we're done. Alright, today is a new day, and I've finished this interior. We've got a display board over here. You can just, as I said, you can put random messages on here, and we've got, a little message and some prices. And we've got some appliances, an oven, a glass display with nothing inside it, and we've got some chairs and tables. We still got to work on the lighting, but I'll do that off camera, and we'll move on to the next area. So the next area will be right around down here, where we have a little store. And so we'll have, shelves, we'll have a cashier and all that, and we'll cut back to once we've finished it. But before then, I'd like to talk about how, I've thought about how I schedule building these things, because I've sort of built all of these over the course of a day, or two. And so next time round, I reckon next time when we build another area, we'll work on these like day by day, and you know, if there's anything interesting or worthwhile that I wanted to point out when building these interiors, I'll feature in the video, but otherwise I don't think I'll make it in. So that's sort of how I've thought about reapproaching these interiors. Of course, the more interesting interiors, so like the interior of my future base, that would get featured in the video, but you know, for just random buildings like these, it probably won't make it. But that'll be it for now, so let's cut to when we finish the interiors. This is what happens if you steal from this shop. Ooh. Ooh. Anyway, we finished the shop up. It's quite simple. We've got, you know, a couple of shelves. They go higher and higher the further back you go, and we've got a lot of cardboard boxes just littered all over. Got some banners and a clock here, just to, you know, fill up some space. And then we've got our counter over here. Quite simple. We've got lighting fixtures, the same lighting fixtures we actually have for the restaurant over here. But I think that'll be it for this area. And so we'll be working on these two areas, which would follow a very similar design to this. And after these two, we'll move on to our final area, which is this area. There's 2 stories each, 2 buildings, and we've got a lot of space, a ton of space actually. We gotta finish the roof, our ceiling, and then we gotta work on a staircase for both of these, and we gotta do a lot for this area. So this place would get, you know, a bit more attention. Before that, we'll work on these 2 areas. So we'll cut to when we finished building both of these areas. If you've ever watched a Minecraft YouTube video in 2025, you might have heard of the replay mod. It's a mod that allows you to film Minecraft gameplay from a third person's perspective, and you can make cool time lapses with it. I tried using the replay mod for my mod pack, but it didn't work. Every time I had a replay, I loaded it, and whenever I loaded it, it crashed my game. And so I couldn't get any time lapses in, which is a shame. So I just have to tell you what I've done so far through these kinds of recordings. So what we have here is a new mod. It's called the Armor Statutes mod. And what that does is it lets you configure the armor statutes and its positions. So if I want to change the head position, I'll just do that, and it would move around. If I want to change the body, the arms, the legs, we've got a couple preset poses, and we've also got some configurations. I can make it small, but I would just keep it big. Same thing here. And then we've got the standard shelf and a couple of hat stands, just to show what I've collected so far. The other building over here, I've tried doing these sort of hanging shelves, I guess. I don't think it worked out quite well, but I'm keeping it because, you know, it could be a good potential idea for later on. So that'll be it for this area. And moving on, we'll move on to our final area over here, which is the 2 big buildings on these sides. Okay, I have to admit, I'm kind of running out of ideas, so this last area is really quite simple actually. So we've got this elevated area, and in here we have tables and chairs, and we've got some cups and candles. And on our second floor, we have this bar area, which is not open, which is just my way of saying I haven't really fully decorated it. But anyway, moving on, we've got our second building over here, And this building is another extension of the restaurant. So you can tell we've got once again, some chairs, some tables, and we've got a live band here, which I'll come back to really quickly. Upstairs, same thing. You've got some chairs, some tables, some cups, and some candles. We've got these couple paintings sprinkled throughout the walls just to make it look a little more interesting. But anyway, down here we have a band, and we have these instruments from the Immersive Melodies mod. And what that does is you can pick music from this list. You can also import your own music in this, but I've just decided to pick something from Minecraft. But as you can probably guess, that'll be it for this episode. Next episode, we'll be working on the area behind me, this area. This will be a new build area where we will be working on some crop farms. So I know I mentioned earlier we'll be working on redstone farms, but I've decided otherwise because I looked at how redstone, glowstone, and gunpowder is made, and I realized that maybe this is something that I'll work on a bit later. So this area would just be a crop farm, and so we'll work on building the exteriors, the farms. We'll quickly explain how it works. The actual farm setup is quite simple, and yeah, we'll see you in the next episode.